You know, it's pretty fascinating when you think about it. Sports, games, we usually just see them as, well, entertainment, right?
Mm-hmm. Just fun.
But they can actually show us so much about ourselves and even society. You sent over some really great stuff for us to look at, especially that Life Talks podcast episode.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
So, our goal with this deep dive is really to dig into that conversation they had, to explore how these activities, playing and watching, genuinely shape us in pretty profound ways.
Beyond just kicking a ball around or moving pieces on a board.
Exactly. We're talking life lessons, how communities get built, even things like esports now.
Right. And the old classics, like chess.
Yeah, and how it all connects to health, well being, and just those moments, those really inspirational sports moments that stick with you.
It's interesting. The Life Talks hosts, they seem to just get that dual nature straight away. The fun bit on top, but underneath.
Deeper stuff, yeah.
All this personal growth, social connection happening
Hmm.
makes you wonder how much we just kind of soak up without realize.
Totally. And Alex and Jordan on Life Talks, they really brought that home with their own stories. Alex talked about playing basketball
Mm-hmm.
and how that taught him about like leadership stuff, how to handle losing, which isn't easy, and obviously teamwork being crucial.
Yeah, the teamwork aspect.
It does make you pause and think, doesn't it? Like, what specific things have stuck with you from sports or games you've played?
And that really flags the idea of skills transferring.
Mhm.
We often think skills belong in one box, like sports skills or work skills.
Right.
But what Alex and Jordan showed is how the focus you need in sports or the strategy in games.
Performing under pressure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That stuff has uses way beyond the game itself.
Yeah, they specifically hit on teamwork, discipline. You definitely get that from training schedule, strategy, handling pressure, big takeaways.
Definitely.
And I really liked Alex's point about getting that reset and keep going mindset. After a bad play or a loss.
Oh, yeah. Being able to shake it off.
That's huge in life, not just in sports.
It really is. And Jordan's story, the one about missing that big soccer penalty,
Oof, yeah, tough moment.
must have been awful at the time, sure. But it turned into this really clear example of learning how to recover, how to bounce back from a setback.
Hmm.
Those moments, the ones with real emotion tied to them in sports or games, they often leave the biggest mark, learning-wise.
And it's not just about us as individuals, is it? Life Talks also got into the incredible way sports and games build community.
Yeah, that sense of connection.
They use those massive examples like the World Cup, the Olympics,
Yeah.
these huge global events that, for a while anyway, seem to bring everyone together.
Well, if you think about that basic human need, for belonging, shared identity,
Right.
these big events become a real focus point. But like Alex and Jordan said, it happens everywhere. Your local weekend league, a board game night with mates.
Exactly. They mentioned schoolyard games, those casual meetups. It's all about the bonds you form just by, well, playing together.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think about the different communities you might be part of just because you all like the same game or team.
And it's interesting, too, how those communities are changing. I mean, look at esports.
Ah, yes. Good point.
That's a perfect example of technology reshaping how we connect through games.
Oh, definitely. The whole evolution to esports was a big chunk of their chat. They couldn't ignore how huge competitive gaming has become.
And they argued, quite strongly, I thought, that you have to recognize the training, the complex strategies, the teamwork
Yeah.
involved in esports. They were drawing direct lines to traditional sports.
Equating the dedication, the skill.
Pretty much.
Hmm.
It definitely expands how we think about, what counts as athletic skill or commitment.
Alex even admitted he was skeptical at first, said he just saw video games as, downtime. But now he sees the serious effort and talent there. And it has sort of leveled the playing field, hasn't it?
How so?
Well, it opens doors for competition, for community, for people who might have different physical abilities but are just incredibly sharp mentally. Have you seen that shift happen in how people view competitive gaming?
It certainly brings up interesting points about access, about inclusion. Esports can be that competitive space, that place to belong
Yeah.
for people who might find traditional physical sports less accessible.
Then they kind of switched gears, didn't they? Back to traditional games, using chess as the big example. Probably because of the Queen's Gambit, bringing it back into the spotlight.
Right, that show definitely gave chess a boost. And it highlights how timeless these really smart games are. Jordan called it a mental battle.
Hmm.
He talked about needing patience,
Hmm.
real focus, and thinking, way ahead, long-term strategy.
Yeah, he got quite deep into the strategy of chess, and Alex made that cool link between game strategy and, like, real life. Planning your moves, making sacrifices sometimes, weighing up risks. It does make you wonder, how do the strategic games you play reflect how you make decisions day to day?
It's an intriguing thought, isn't it? How that abstract thinking you practice in chess might actually sharpen your brain for, real-world problems.
Hmm.
The game gives you this safe space to try things, mess up, learn, without huge consequences.
And it's not all just brain power, is it? They also brought up the health side of things, the link between playing sports and games and just general well-being.
Yeah, the physical benefits are pretty obvious for many sports.
Better heart health, stronger muscles, fitness, all that.
But the Life Talks guys also really stressed the mental health side, which maybe gets overlooked sometimes.
Totally. They talked about that mood lift you get, the endorphins.
That natural high.
Alex even compared how he felt after a good game of basketball versus just, endlessly scrolling on his phone.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
contrast.
One feels engaging, satisfying. The other, maybe a bit empty. Makes you think about the quality of satisfaction we get from different activities. Active versus passive.
It really does. It suggests that doing something involving both your body and your mind
Yeah.
gives a deeper kind of well-being than just sort of consuming passively.
And lastly, they got into the inspiration factor, the power of just watching sports, those moments you never forget.
The amazing comebacks.
The underdog wins, stuff that just hits you.
Yeah, those stories connect with something deep in us, I think. Seeing people overcome challenges, perform incredibly, the emotion is real.
They used a very specific, powerful example, the 2011 Cricket World Cup final.
In India.
Yeah, and what that meant culturally. How a single sporting event can get tangled up with national identity, inspire pride, maybe even shape dreams for a whole generation. Can you think of a sporting event that really inspired you like that?
It's amazing how those shared moments of watching something incredible can build that collective feeling, that shared purpose. It's way more than entertainment. It's witnessing, I don't know, human potential playing out.
So, wrapping it up, just like Alex and Jordan concluded on Life Talks, it seems pretty clear that sports and games are, well, much more than just ways to pass the time.
Definitely not just pastimes.
They're significant teachers, aren't they? Shaping our minds, our bodies, our character, really.
Absolutely. And as we've talked about, the sources you shared all point to this. From individual skills like bouncing back or working in a team
Hmm.
to building communities and even just the pure inspiration we get from watching or playing. It's all connected.
Which brings us back to you listening. We hope this deep dive maybe nudged you to think a bit about your own history with sports and games. What lessons, maybe ones you didn't even realize, have you picked up?
Yeah, definitely worth considering. Which leads to maybe one last thought for you to mull over. How would you take some of those core ideas from play, like strategy or teamwork, or just that grit, that perseverance, and consciously, deliberately apply them to the challenges or even the opportunities you're facing right now in your everyday life?